and then.
Thank you. I would like to call this meeting of the West Valley Water District Board of Directors to order, please. Can we conduct a roll call, please?
Yes, thank you. Director Garcia is not here. Director Hawkins?
Alive.
Director Moore? Director Moore?
Here.
Vice President Jenkins?
Present.
And President Young, are you on Zoom?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. So 4 of 5 are present. We do have a quorum.
Okay. And do we have a request for remote participation tonight from President Young?
Yes,
Yes.
we do, Mr. Vice President. At this point, under AB 2449, each board member has the option for 2 just cause rationales per year to engage in the meeting virtually without going through the old or the usual teleconference rules of posting the agenda, et cetera. So with that, may we ask you which of the just cause rationales that you'd like to use for this meeting, Mr. President?
I'm sick.
Okay. That certainly qualifies as an illness that will prevent him from attending this meeting. So with that, there's no need for a vote of the board, but just remember that all votes are by roll call. Thank you.
All right. With that said, can I have someone to do the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Mr. Director Moore.
Just want to quickly announce that Director Garcia has just arrived.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And this evening's invocation tonight will be given by Pastor Jackson of the Loveland Church. Pastor Jackson.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you.
How are you all this evening?
Great, thank you.
God bless you. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for another day. As the psalmist said in Psalms 90 and 12, teach us to number our days or count our days and apply our heart unto wisdom. Lord, I pray for this board tonight, the West Valley Water District Board, as they make decisions that they represent. Each one of these members have the responsibility of making decisions that support the communities they serve. I pray for them now as they make these decisions, Lord. Give them wisdom and knowledge as they go forward with this meeting tonight. We thank you for another year, for allowing us to see this time and this that we have right now. Watch over them, Lord. We thank you for them now. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to open up to public comment period for closed session matters.
Thank you. Public may participate in one of 4 ways: in person at West Valley Water District's Administrative Boardroom, via telephone by calling the following number, access code, dial 888-475-4499, access code 840-293-7790, via Zoom with access code 840-293-7790, or via email to administration@wvwd.org.
And at this time, have we received any requests?
We received none in person or via email, and I'm not sure if we have any participants via Zoom.
Okay. So at this time, I'd like to convene the meeting to a closed session. The time is now.
So you want to request if there's anybody via Zoom that would like to
I'm sorry.
go
Yes, is there anyone via Zoom that needs to speak?
Okay. Looks like we have no participants, so you can close public comment period.
Okay, we'll consider that closed. I'd like to convene this meeting into a closed session at this time at 6:07. Very good. At this point, I'd like to reconvene out of closed session at 6:35. And do we have a report on closed session?
Yes, Mr. Vice President, the board met in closed session on all three items, but there was no reportable action.
Okay. So there is no, is there any discussion on any agenda items?
And I'm sorry, we
Oh,
want to
go
make
ahead.
sure we get President Young.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's back on. Okay, thanks. Sorry.
I'm here.
And is there any discussion on any agenda items at this time? If not, I would like to request a motion to adopt the agenda.
I motion to adopt the agenda.
And is there a
Second.
second?
Okay, that's a first from Director Garcia, second from Director Moore. Take a roll call vote. Director Garcia,
Yes.
Director Hawkins,
Yes.
Director Moore,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins,
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, their open public comment period. Request the board secretary to read any meetings protocol information.
Thank you. Members of the public may participate and give public comment in one of 4 ways: in person at West Valley Water District's Administrative Boardroom, via telephone by calling 888-475-4499, access code 840-293-7790, via a Zoom by access code 840-293-7790, or via email to administration@wvwd.org.
And have we had any requests been received?
No request via in-person or email, and I'm not sure about Zoom attendees.
Okay.
So do we have any Zoom attendees that would like to give public comment at this time? You can unmute yourselves. No one's requested.
And, okay, so moving forward, we have no presentations at this time. And I see nothing on the consent calendar. So we'll go to business matters. And I would like to throw that to John, please.
Thank you. The first item is on well 42, which is located on the southeast side of our service area. It's just south of the intersection of Sycamore and San Bernardino Avenue. As Joanne will illustrate, this is an important well for us, and we found some problems with the well and the well casing, well equipment, which we need to address right away so we can get this well back online for the summer. So, Joanne?
Thank you, General Manager. Good evening, Board Presidents and members of the Board. Joanne Chen, Director of Operations. Well 42, near the intersections of San Bernardino and Sycamore Avenues, produces 2.6 million gallons a day, is currently offline, a key water source for our self-service area. Our pump contractor, General Pump, pulled the pump equipment out for inspection due to loud noises from the motor and vibrations. The pump inlet, multiple sections of the pump column, totaling 90 feet, and the motor had worn out. The well casing shows heavy plugging and with both physical and microbial materials. Exhibit A of the staff report is the well casing inspection report. The scope of work consists of replacing the worn out parts, the inlet, 90 feet of the pump column, and rebuilding the motor. Brush and bell, brush the well casing to loosen up the debris and belt them out. Air burst, pressure wash the casing and to loosen up the surrounding gravel pack. We released an RFP in 2021. 4 firms submitted proposals. The board awarded the as-needed pump maintenance contract to General Pump. Its cost of service is the lowest compared to other firms. The quote from General Pump to perform the specified services is a little over $273,000. We are still experiencing supply chain issues. Low lead time can be given on the meters and AMI radios. The lead time for motor drive is 1 year. We waited 2 years for the cross-connection truck and the hydro excavator. If we don't move quickly, we might not have this well ready for summer. This item was not budgeted. The capital contingency funds had been spent due to the possible supply chain issues and that we need this well back online before summer. Funds will be transferred from another project that won't start until next budget year. The engineering committee already reviewed this item and has forwarded to the board tonight for approval. Staff recommends that the board approve the Well 42 rehab project with general pump in the amount of $273,138.49. And this concludes my report. I'm happy to address any questions.
And does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. So where would that money come from, and how would it affect the project that was planned?
Okay. The money will be coming from another capital purchase named Reservoir 5-2 Rehabilitations. We are going to transfer about $280,000. It will not affect the project at the moment because we have no plans to initiate the project. When the time comes to work on the project, we'll evaluate. We might or may not get better pricing.
Okay.
All right. John, did you have any comment?
I was maybe just going to add to that once we start working on the next fiscal year budget for 2025, we'll have to plug this 280 back into that budget, everything else being equal.
Okay. So at this time, I would like to, if anyone would like to, excuse me.
Dan, if I could also add that
thank
we
you.
also have the mid-year budget adjustments coming up, so we can always adjust it there too.
That's good to know.
That's true.
Okay, do I have anyone who'd like to request a motion to move forward?
I'll make a motion that we move forward with 42 rehabilitation for the cost of $273,000.
All right, Director Morris, is there a second?
I'll second.
Director Garcia? And Board Secretary, can you go ahead and call the roll?
Yes. Thank you. That's Director Garcia,
Yes.
Director Hawkins,
Yes.
Director Moore,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins,
Yes.
and President Young.
Yes.
Thank you. That passes 5-0.
And thank you. And then, so now I'd like to invite John again in regards to title into record. Am I getting that right? For public outreach and government affairs?
Yes. Business item 2 is for the Public Outreach and Government Affairs Department and the proposed restructure that we've talked about in the past. And in brief, this restructure essentially changes job titles and job descriptions in that department, but there's no change in the number of employees in that department. So no change in the number of improved employees. And we're recommending this change for a number of reasons. And Haiti, can you elaborate on those?
Sure. So these positions were reviewed by CPS to compare us to the comparables of other districts, and so the commonality of the titles is what will put us in the market and in line for being competitive in these particular positions. The essence of the restructuring was provided by Socorro. She assessed her department to ensure that the needs of the district were met, and if you recall, this item was brought forth to the board in the past, and it was then reverted back to the committees. The committees had extensive discussion on the various issues and concerns that they had. All of those issues and concerns have been addressed. We've included some of the requests into the job descriptions, and so now we believe that we can move forward in presenting them to the board for final approval in hopes that we can reorganize that department.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board at this time?
Well, I have a quick question. On the Public Outreach and Government Affairs Rep 1, will that position allow for someone with a non-degree to be able to apply for those positions?
So what is required at that level is an associate's degree, where before that position required a bachelor's degree.
Okay, so essentially it'll give opportunity for internal candidates to apply?
Yes.
Okay, great. I don't have any additional comments.
Yeah, I want to have just a comment. I want to thank the staff for going through this process. I know that there's been a need for a while, and this wasn't an easy process to get this to this point. It took a lot of back and forth and discussion between the board as a whole, the committees, the staff, a lot of back and forth exchange in order to arrive at a at a proposal that fit the needs of the agency and fits the vision of the board has to be able to engage with the public. And so I want to acknowledge that it was not the straightest path, but usually the best tomatoes come off of the crookedest vine. And so I want to thank Socorro and Mary Jo for entertaining multiple rounds of challenging questions, I think, to say the least. I want to thank them for remaining professional. And I am glad that we're here and we all have.
Thank you, Director Hawkins. Is there any other comments from the board?
My only remaining comment is I look forward to getting this group fully staffed. I know they've been this group has been doing a lot with just 2 people. They've been working half staff for over a year, and I could just imagine how much more you're going to get done with having the additional help. And thank you for doing and carrying the load for the 2 vacancies, Socorro. Thank you.
I agree. With that said, I'd like to request a motion on the subject.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. I'll take a roll call vote. Director Garcia?
Yes.
Director Hawkins?
Yes.
Director Moore?
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins?
Yes.
President Young?
Yes.
Thank you. That passes 5-0.
Okay. So now I'd like to invite the General Manager, John Thiel, to report.
Thank you. This item is on the strategic plan. The board met on this at our last meeting, and we incorporated your comments into a new version that Amy's going to talk about here in a couple minutes. And in addition, I had the opportunity to talk to Director Hawkins earlier this week, and he had a great comment, and we're planning to incorporate that into the draft as well, and Amy will bring that out to the rest of the board. So, Amy, thanks for coming back. She'll take us through the edits for the board. Feel free to make any additional changes, and if you're then satisfied with the plan tonight. With that, Amy?
Thank you, and thanks for having me back. As was just mentioned, I'm going to go quickly through the elements, share what we changed from the last time you saw it, incorporated additional feedback, and we'll see if we can't get this thing through the finish line. Okay, we're just diving in. Excuse me. So the draft vision today is the West Valley Water District will be model for innovation and sustainability with a commitment to our employees and the growing community we serve. As you recall, we removed relentless before commitment. Any other questions or comments on this? All right. Go ahead.
Danny?
I know. Just the only thing is, can we put the community? I love all the employees, so don't take this wrong. But I want to put the community before. Is it possible to restructure the sentence where the community comes first? That's it. Just commitment to our growing community and our employees. So that's it.
Seems reasonable.
How does that look? So now it reads West Valley Water District will be a model for innovation and sustainability with a commitment to our, I don't like that.
Yeah. Do we need to say we serve?
Yeah. With the restructure, I don't like, at the end it's gonna indicate serving employees, which I don't think sounds correct. So
you don't think it's not, I mean, well,
what was that?
What do you think? Put it back the way it was, or what do you think?
No, I think we can. I think it makes sense to put the community first. I just think with the restructure, I want to take out "we serve" because it just doesn't fit at the end or sounds awkward in the middle. So if this now reads, with a commitment to our growing communities and our employees.
Any
other
further comments?
All right, thank you. Okay, draft mission. This had no edits since the last time you saw it. The West Valley Water District provides our community with high quality and reliable water service in a cost-effective and sustainable manner. Any questions, comments, concerns about this one?
I have a question.
Sure.
Do we need service and reliable water service? I guess.
To me, the word service indicates that it goes beyond just the actual water delivery, like what comes out of your tap, but everything around it. I think that was the intention, but John, feel free to chime in.
I guess I would agree with that. I think water services is maybe more descriptive of the full range of things that we do.
You okay with that? Okay. All right, Amy, we're good.
All right, I'm going to move on. Draft values. Everything remained the same, except we did change preferred workplace. So you can see the old version in orange, but the updated version reads, West Valley Water District offers an empowering work environment that promotes diversity, equity, and inclusion where employees can succeed. The other values remain the same since you've seen them. Any other questions or comments about this one? All right, hearing none.
Is there a way to share it with, because I can't see it. I just see the.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yes.
Okay, that's why I joined the Zoom last time. Okay, I'm going to mute myself for a second.
Okay, we're working on it.
Thank you, Greg.
Are we able to email this to him real quick?
Are there others on the line that would need to see it, I assume?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
The only thing is he wouldn't be able to see the changes live as you're doing it.
Right. I just need to unplug and go to IT to get signed in. All right.
I'm not going.
Good here.
All right.
Who asked those guys?
Thank you for your patience. Okay, so now, as people can see on the call, the orange was the previous version, and the white under preferred workplace is the updated version. Any
Okay.
questions or comments about that new value or any of the others? Hearing none. All right. Come on. All right. Now we have draft goals, another one that remained unchanged since you saw it. So I'll let you read through these and pause for any questions or comments.
Yeah, there's no change to the goals. Within the goals, we'll go through some things that were added or changed.
Yeah, we're going to strategies next. We'll get down to that. All right, hearing none, I'm going to move. Now we're going to go goal by goal and point out any changes to the strategies. On goal 1, there were no edits. So please let me know if you have questions or comments about this one. Hearing none. The second goal had several edits. So first, we combined succession planning into B. So if you recall, previously, develop a succession planning process was its own goal. As we kept adding, we decided to roll that into the priorities. And then thanks to Director Hawkins' feedback, we also added advanced community workforce development as a goal under being an exemplary employer. And we added, based on the feedback of the board last meeting, promote a professional environment of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Any questions or comments about these additions or edits? Hearing none. No edits to goal 3, develop and grow effective communication and advocacy practices. I will pause for you to review and take any questions. Hearing none. Oh, did I hear? No? Okay. Strengthen partnerships with outside agencies. We added establish and maintain relationships with communities based on the board's feedback. And then we also local, state, and federal agencies to letter D, whereas previously it just read with local governments. Questions or comments about this one?
Looks good.
All right. You guys are so quiet today. This one, oh, I see. Okay. So this one we just changed D and E, their entry words, so that we didn't have redundancies. So instead of explore feasibility of sustainable energy alternatives, we have study feasibility of sustainable energy alternatives. And then instead of identify, develop, and implement best practices, we have define, develop, and implement best practices. All right.
Can you go back just one? I just
Yep.
hadn't finished, and I think Director
Sorry.
Moore, or Director Xia. We're good.
All right. 6, effective financial stewardship. We changed B, just reworded this. So now it reads continuously explore and implement cost-saving initiatives. And then letters C and D, similar to the last slide, we also changed their entry words to avoid redundancy.
That looks good.
All right. No edits on health, safety, and regulatory compliance. And also no edits on superior customer service. That is all I have. Any questions or additional edits before you consider adoption? All right, thank you.
All right. So at this time, we have no comments. I'd like to request a motion to reports? at this
Yes, I
time?
would like to report that I have my monthly meeting with County Supervisor Jesse Armendariz and Mayor Aquanetta on key issues related to Fontana. And I did attend the Fontana Chamber Luncheon held at Jesse Turner. Thank you.
Director Moore?
I attended the Fontana Chamber Luncheon as well, and Martin Luther King breakfast as well over in San Bernardino.
And Director Hawkins?
Yes, I attended the Martin Luther King, it's not on here, parade, and I think John and I had a constructive meeting where he was able to update me on what was going on with the agency.
Cool, nice. For me, I attended on the
was on the Monday.
16th annual Baca baseball event where the kids get a learning. It was really well received. There were quite a bit of kids there. It was a fun event. And President Young, do you have any meeting attendance reports?
Nothing for me.
Okay. Moving forward, board committee reports. I'll go back to Director Garcia. In the pink.
Okay, for the Engineering and Operations Planning Committee report, for the engineering staff provided an update on the Oliver Romer water filtration upgrade and expansion project and displayed the latest time-lapse video. They also summarized the draft goals and the desired outcomes from the San Bernardino Basin Optimization Plan, which were presented by staff, which is a collaboration with our regional partners that will identify how best to utilize the shared asset to enhance long-term water resource solutions. And we also talked about the Recharging State Water Project water into the Cactus Basins. Valley District and members of the Rialto Basin Groundwater Council are currently seeking to cooperatively, tongue twister, maximize the use of the basin with county flood control and to meet the needs of the communities we all serve. For the operations report, there was a rain index update this year. It's been pretty much dry, and we're waiting for the benefits of El Nino, which I don't see. I think they're up north right now, big time. And we discussed the theft of the vandalism of the district's West Valley Water District assets in the Bloomington, as residents are moving in and out of the residentials and for the anticipated warehouse project. Thank you.
Director Moore?
Yeah, for safety and technology, staff provided an update on security cameras. We're moving forward with the camera installations at the Lord Ranch site as the highest priority. I'm seeking a grant funds for other sites, including headquarters and well 18 and well 30. Currently working with engineering and operations to address the thefts that are at the warehouse development area in Bloomington as well. Also making some minor corrections on the new website, currently working on the intranet page, what will provide staff with one-stop site for information and resources such as policies and procedures, staff directories, and employee development. We implemented the Know Before training campaign, which provides staff training and simulated phishing attacks to protect the district against cyber attacks. And we'll continue to work with Tyler to convert our work order processes from paper to digital.
Excellent.
Policy Oversight Committee. Let's
Please.
go ahead and roll with that.
Yeah, let's do it.
HR policies. Staff provided an update on human resource policies, which are being reviewed, updated, and modified with the assistance of Shauna at BBK. Planning to have a draft completed by April for review by the HR committee and the policy committee prior to board consideration. Records, retention, and email policies. Staff provided updates on records, retention, and email policies, which are currently in legal review. Department liaisons have been identified who will be managing the efforts in each department. Plan to have a final draft ready in the next few months for review by policy committee prior to the board review and approval. That's my report.
Great. And Director Hawkins?
Which committee you want me to report on?
Any ones you attended?
I thought the chair did that. The chairs did that. Okay, so the HR committee had a very productive committee meeting. We discussed several items regarding the district, including leave, other job openings, and so forth. So I found the staff very informative and helpful. In the Public Affairs Committee, we discussed what was going on with Sacramento and D.C., particularly the outreach of the government affairs reorganization. One thing I did note, particularly wanted to note, was EPI for the Human Resource Committee, looking at the status of our EPLI insurance, in that we need to get reinstated with Aqua JPIA or another source, and that the staff is going to bring back that issue to the committee for discussion. There you go.
Thank you.
All right.
And I attended the Safety Technology Committee with Director Moore, so I think that's already been discussed. I'd like to move forward to the board members. I'll let Director Garcia.
You want to see if
I'm sorry, President Young. I apologize.
No, the others covered it for me. Thank you.
Okay. Now I'd like to go to board members, and
I have nothing to report.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report.
And President Young?
Nothing for me. Just thank you, Dan, for filling in for me.
Get better.
Yes,
you sound sick.
And I'm glad Greg said that. I like to personally thank our board secretary, Elvia Dominguez, for making this transition easy for me. What maybe people don't know, I have cliff notes, so I'm able to move forward. So I do appreciate that. I want you to know. And I'll take it to General Manager.
Okay, thank you. I've got quite a few updates, but they'll be pretty quick, starting with staffing and recruitments. Customer Service Representative 1, we now have a candidate in the pre-employment process. For Water Systems Operator 3 in the Cross Connections Department, we have 3 interviews set up for January 31st. For GIS Administrator, we're looking at 11 applications for potential interviews. For Accountant 1, this position is advertising currently until January 28th. And recruitments will begin soon for Director of Engineering, and with your action earlier today for positions in the Public Affairs and Government Affairs Department, Public Outreach and Government Affairs Department. So a lot going on, but our list is getting shorter.
It's good news. Thank you.
Good news. Next, Employee of the Month. We have started our new Employee of the Month program. And on Tuesday, we announced our first ever Employee of the Month, Gilbert Olivares. Gilbert was nominated by his fellow employees and selected by a staff committee, so congratulations to Gilbert. He'll get a $100 gift card, and he's on a plaque in the hallway forever.
Oh, wow.
And his picture will be up for 30 days.
Okay, no.
That's great.
But, that was a great way to kick off the new year and the all-hands meeting, so really great energy there. We're planning to recognize outstanding work by our employees every month, and then we think we'll have an Employee of the Year about this time next year, and perhaps a Crew of the Year. So looking forward to adding those components. Next item is the Bloomington Warehouse project issues. We heard a little bit from the committee reports so far. As some of you are aware, the theft problems we're having in Bloomington, where the developer is buying up residential properties, a lot of them, and planning to build warehouses there in the future. So, with that intro, Linda, can you please update the board on this?
Yes, thank you. In late December, there were some meter thefts in the area of Bloomington, where we will be going under development for a future multi-warehouse project. Since that time, engineering staff reached out to the developer to gather information on vacant parcels, properties under acquisition, and to formulate a plan going forward. The developer is very helpful and responsive to our data requests and providing updates. Billing and customer service have used this information to provided by the developer and cross-checked against accounts that have been closed to create work orders for meter removals. They're also using this information to contact customers at their properties that will be vacant soon to find out when those accounts will be closed so that we can remove those meters as soon as possible. Operations has been busy removing those meters from vacant parcels and will be removing future meters as customers vacate the property to avoid any future theft. So with that, I'd like to thank the billing, customer service, engineering, and operations departments for all working together to proactively address this issue.
Yeah, thanks, Linda. I would also add that Socorro's reached out to Supervisor Baca's office and informed them, and so we're working with their office as well on this and working together for a better solution. Any questions, comments from the board so far?
None.
We'll keep going. Next item, I just wanted to check in with the board on our lobbyist interviews. We had three last week, and we have 3 state lobbyists coming in to interview next week. I thought the process went very well, but I wanted to check in with the board. Any comments on the process or any changes desired by the board for the next set of interviews next Thursday?
I thought it was well received. I think we did a good job.
You want to add your mic so that we can...
I thought it was well received. I think the board did a good job, and so did the staff on presenting everyone.
Thank you. Sounds like we're good to go for the next round. And yeah, I'd also like to thank Socorro and Mary Jo for putting out those packages and putting that process together. And you'll have a new set of binders coming out on Tuesday for those 3 state lobbyists.
When do we have? Is that another date? Is that on the 25th? Then?
That's a special board meeting next Thursday, scheduled for 6 o'clock.
Very good. Thank you.
Do we need to look at that date?
Oh, did we?
Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend that meeting.
Yeah.
Jeff, can we talk about that issue, or if we want to select an alternative date at this time? Or
yes, I mean that's fine. That's just more of a bookkeeping, planning ahead. So you can certainly discuss that now if wished in terms of a date.
You want us to you want to talk about that now? You want us to check in with?
I mean, is Wednesday too soon, or is there a problem with Wednesday?
That's no problem with me.
We've got a schedule that we can pop up that kind of populates what's going on in the month of January that we can cover, remember? So if you're finished with your update, we can move on to scheduling, because I think that's something that we're all going to want to look at.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you want to, so we'll table that just for a few minutes, and we'll talk about that in the next section here. Okay.
And
okay, got, I think, a couple more items real quick. Well, I don't know about real quick, but let's talk about pins. Lapel pins?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
We've got some, we've heard your, can you pass those in, please? Okay.
I want the one with pink on it.
The one with the whole pink?
There you go.
Got it. That's good.
Well, we've heard you've asked us to get some pins and hopefully get those by the time we go off to DC. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but we're trying. So we, Mary Jo and Socorro have put together, based on some of the previous board comments, some alternatives for us to consider tonight. And I think if we get a decision tonight or some direction, we can get with the company and perhaps make that schedule. So we have, basically, I think there's 9 alternatives on here. Just, I think one set is shown on the white suit coat or a blue suit coat. So,
White suit.
So see how it'll look on your white suit in DC. And I think these run about $10 a piece, but we need to order 100 at a time. So we're not married to these, but if you want to get something coming, I think what I've heard from a few board members is something along the line. Well, they're all about the same. They either have a blue background or a white background with dark text. And it looks like 5 is maybe just one color, where most of the other ones have more colors, including brown.
And we do want to mention that President Young does have a copy of this as well.
Oh, good. President Young, do you have any comments?
I replied back to Socorro and John that I like 1 or 1A, if you're looking at the same thing I got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1 and 1A looked like the same, but my eyes kind of favored that one too.
I think those might be the same, just shown on different
jackets,
suits.
Okay.
Yeah. How's 1 look for 1 or 1A look for the group?
I like 1A.
Uh-oh.
They all look the same to me, so it doesn't matter. Say we flip a coin.
Yeah. Well, 1 and 1A, I believe, are the same.
I think they're the same thing shown on different backgrounds.
It's either blue or white. So.
Yeah. Dr. Hawkins?
Yeah, either 1 or 2, and have different backgrounds.
I think if I can say we're all in agreement, like number 1, is that the consensus?
Yep.
Okay.
1?
I think 1 and 1A are the same thing.
1 is
Gotcha.
good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I've one last item, and that's in regards to some requests that we provide letters of support. One is to the City of Rialto for they're looking for a grant from the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation for their wetlands habitat project. I think it was formerly called the Lake Rialto Habitat Project, if you're familiar with that. Mm-hmm. So they're sending in a grant application they'd like for the district to provide a letter of support. There's no obligation or cost to the district, so I feel like we should support this effort if you're in agreement. And we've got a similar request from IEUA, and they're looking for a grant for turf transformation program. And again, there's no cost or obligation to the district, and I think it shows partnership and builds our relationship with those two agencies. And hopefully in the near future, I'm planning for us to ask both of them to support our grant applications. So with that, and I think in compliance with our existing legislative affairs policy, I can provide these letters of support and sign off on them. So unless there's any requests otherwise, I'll be doing just that.
Right. So
Jeff?
Yeah, that's the key, is if it's part of our policy platform to support these types of projects, and then the general manager can sign those letters and have them sent out. If it's not part of our policy platform and that need to be something done by the board as a whole, then that have to be on the agenda. But
Gotcha.
It's part of the policy platform that the board has a consensus to implement through the general manager. He can proceed with those letters.
Okay, good.
And if it's not, then we need to add that to an agenda for a future meeting.
Gotcha.
Was it not just adopted via the new strategic plan?
So the purpose of having a legislative policy is so that you don't have to come to the board every time there's a request for a letter of support. All I'm saying is that if this fits within the confines of that, then we're fine. If it doesn't, then it would be something that had to be approved by the board.
The board of directors did approve legislative principles, I believe, last year.
And that falls within those guidelines.
That includes this. Okay.
Okay. We're good.
So
okay.
Without objection, then the general manager will proceed
Without
on
objection.
that basis.
Thank you. Okay.
Any objections?
Okay.
Do we have to even vote?
No.
Do we have to,
No, sir.
Okay. Just no objections. Good. Move
Good to go?
forward then.
Okay, we'll get those off to our regional partners.
Thank you.
And that's all for me. We have some discussion coming up on upcoming meetings, as we talked about earlier. Thank you.
So let me, so before we get to the upcoming meetings, I get legal.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice President. Just wanted to mention a couple of things. One is, as we know, a couple of years ago, the Surplus Lands Act was changed dramatically in terms of adding new requirements, and the purpose of that was to encourage the use of surplus property from public agencies for housing in order to meet the housing needs in California. And it came with a lot of new requirements. There were some regulations by the housing department of the state. And since that time, there's been a lot of experience of public agencies wanting to meet those requirements. And as a result, there's been a new bill passed, AB 480, that clarifies some of the procedures for that. And the reason that I mention that here is that as a special district with a limited authority and powers to provide water service, there are a number of exceptions that would not require you to go through the multi-layer process to dispose of surplus property. And those explanations are now in the Act, and they deal with the agency use. So if you dispose of property for an agency use, that's not considered surplus. It's considered exempt. And you would not have to go through all of those various procedures. And the bill and the law now says that it covers things such as water, wastewater, and a number of other public utility purposes for doing that. The other part of that has to do with the sale of property in order to obtain funds for the district itself. Now, in the past, there was some question as to whether or not if you sold the property in order to make a return on investment and use that money at the agency, would that be considered an agency use that would not require the surplus property procedures? And now that is indeed part of the law as well. So for special districts, in most cases moving forward, you'll find if we do dispose of real property, that we will include in the staff report, and I think we have already previously included an explanation as to what the property is that's being disposed for an agency use and what is that use in order to properly document that. One other thing I wanted to mention on a different topic is as you know, the water use objectives have to be filed each year by each water supplier in California now, and we've been doing that here. The Legislative Analyst's Office was required by the law that put in place the water use objectives protocols to do a report on those objectives as they're being created by the state board. As you may know, the state board came out with the draft water use objectives, and they are due to be adopted by the middle of next year. Well, the LAO's office came up with its own report about those objectives and what their point of view is on them, and they did raise a number of concerns that they would like the state board to take into account prior to final approval. Now, whether or not they'll actually do that or not is open to discussion. But the concerns that the LAO's office raised were that these new objectives added a level of complexity in terms of the measures that water suppliers would have to implement, that these objectives could be difficult to achieve, especially with very stringent new standards for outdoor water use, that the compliance with these by water purveyors would add a large cost to their operations, which would be borne primarily by the ultimate customers of the water suppliers. That these new objectives could disproportionately impact lower income customers because the less water that's used, that means that the water supplier will have to increase customer rates in order to cover the flat service cost of running the operation, and this could impact lower income customers. And with the Proposition 218 limitations on having one set of customers subsidize another, that would be difficult. And then finally, they raised the fact that these are pretty aggressive deadlines for meeting the compliance requirements going forward in the next couple of years. It was delayed because of COVID and other things, but the state board is kept with the same time period. So we'll certainly keep you up to date as to whether or not there are changes to the final objectives regulations, but it's something that we have to comply with now, but just to know there are others who have raised concerns like this in the past. That's all I have, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. And finally, I think we're coming back around to John in regards to
our
dates.
upcoming meetings and events and some planning. So, Elvia has PowerPoint to bring forward to
Yeah, so
shows the calendar.
what we would like to propose is, because we've got a pretty active board that likes to do a lot of community events, a lot of outside agency and collaboration events and meetings, I'd like to do at the second meeting of every month a 2-month look ahead so that we can see, any kind of potential issues that may arise and we can address them at the board meeting. And so this is kind of what we're proposing to do. Is you'll see on the calendar any of the highlighted like light orange text is essentially things that we should be addressing at this point, where things will kind of intersect that we need to address. First of which is the ASB CSD meeting on the 22nd of the month. That is going to be hosted by Cucamonga Valley Water, and we already have RSVPs from pretty much all the board except for President Young, who cannot make it. But because of that, we had to move the External Affairs Committee from that date to the 30th. So you'll see below that on the 30th, it was moved to that date. Now, at the same day, Aqua Region 9 is having a meeting and tour at 11:30. And so that's one thing that we're going to cover later on. But on the 26th, Southern California Water Coalition is having their lunch. That's the one on the 26th. You'll see that highlighted in orange. We have RSVPs from Dan, Channing, Angela, and Kelvin to attend that. And on the 30th, like I said, at the same day that the External Affairs Committee is holding a meeting that was moved, Aqua Region 9 is having a meeting at 11:30. The next slide will show you that invitation from the region that was given. So they're asking for RSVPs by the 22nd, which is relatively soon. But essentially, it's going to be a board meeting, lunch at 11:30, followed by a tour. And then the board meeting, you're invited to stay for the board meeting while they'll cover Region 9 upcoming events and plans for the year. So that I'm going to send via an invitation to you all, but I wanted to highlight that because that literally just came in and because it's a short RSVP turnaround. Okay, and that is in the middle of the day. It's at 11:30. If you choose to stay for the board meeting, it'd go all the way to 3. Okay, the next slide is going to show February, and there's some items there to look at. The first of which is our regular board meeting on the 15th. That happens the same day as the Fontana State of the City. And I know that the board likes to attend that and kind of keep up with what's happening in the city of Fontana. So since we're all here, if we can look at that 15th date and look at the calendar for potential dates to move that meeting to, where we'd have like a special meeting, we'd cancel that date and then have a special meeting either on the 13th or 14th as an option.
How does the board feel about having or moving our regular board meeting to the 14th? No?
Oh, it's Valentine's Day.
Oh.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay.
You might not want to make your spouse mad.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for the reminder.
I have a question. Do we need to have a regular board meeting?
You don't necessarily have to. You can cancel it also. Don't forget, Aqua DC is happening that same month. There's going to be a lot of meeting you'll all be attending, so you don't necessarily have to have the meeting. It's your choice.
Why don't we have the meeting on the 8th?
Can you? I can't hear you with the.
The 8th.
Move it up by a week. We can do that. We're going to have one on the 1st, the very first one, and then we're going to have another one on the 8th.
I'm good with that.
You good with the 8th?
Good with that, yeah.
Does that work for you, Angie?
President Young, do you have a comments? Yeah, he's good. He's good
Thumbs
with that
up.
on the 8th.
Majority rules.
Okay, so could you please move that meeting to the 8th?
We'll do that, sure. Not a problem. Second is going to be just a President's Day on the 19th. On the 22nd, Valley Water, we just received notice today, actually, or was it yesterday? Today, that Valley Water invitations to their 70th year celebration are going to be going out, and that's going to be on the 22nd, but wanted you to know that that's going to be coming up.
Do we have a time for that?
I don't have the invitation yet, but just kind of keep it on your calendar. It's an evening event.
Okay.
The week of Aqua DC, we've got a number of standing meetings that we could look at to either cancel or move. First of which is the External Affairs Committee that happens on that Monday. Also, since I think we have Vice President Jenkins that's going to stay, ASBCSD meeting is hosted by Chino Valley Fire, is happening that Monday. Also, I wanted to add that on there, just so that you know.
I could attend
You
that.
want to attend that one?
Yeah, please.
So then the question for Channing and for Angela is if you would like to cancel that External Affairs meeting or move it.
Let's move it to March.
Move it to March,
Or
okay.
just, yeah, we're going to be busy that week, so we don't need it.
Okay. Channing, does that sound okay to you?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll look for open dates and then send that to you. Next is Executive Committee. President Young is going to be in D.C. Vice President Jenkins is going to be here, so maybe coordinating a meeting somehow, maybe conference or even how you all want to handle that.
John, are you here or are you in DC?
I'll be in DC.
So I guess if you guys wanted to, we could do a Zoom type.
Yeah, I
meeting.
think we can figure that out.
Okay.
That'd be
That's-
good.
Thank you. And next is going to be the Finance Committee, is also happening on the 28th when you all are at DC. Although Vice President Jenkins is going to be here, both.
Yeah, I think we should try to reschedule that one because we have those monthly reports to review and forward.
President Young, are you available the 29th, or are you flying back that day?
I'll be flying back that day.
Okay, so I don't want to put you in the spot on that.
Well, you could just come to DC with the rest of us.
For a meeting.
We
Why
can
not?
look at available dates.
Who'd want to waste the February 29th for the meeting?
Yeah.
All right.
Da-da-da.
Oh yeah, there you go. Leap year.
Yeah, the only consideration for that is that typically the end of the month finance reports follow and are forwarded to the first meeting in March. So we will not be able to do that. We'll have to push those reports to the second meeting in March. That's really the only consideration. But we can look at available dates to move that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go back to the January really quick.
Yes.
So now we're looking at the interviews, the special meeting on the 25th that was scheduled. And I want to apologize, but when we were talking about how we were going to coordinate these meetings, I thought that we had agreed that it was going to be split up between the first special meeting for state and the second special meeting on the 25th for feds. So the invitations went out, and if we need to, it would probably take a couple of weeks lead time to get our federal legislators out here. State legislators out here. So
they're gonna come.
Right.
They're gonna make it. I have a feeling they're gonna show up when we have a meeting.
Right, but if we look at the schedule now, do you want to look at the calendar and maybe what feasibly we can do or what date looks more feasible to you all?
Were you looking at the 24th? Or?
I propose we move it to February.
That's fine.
The only thing about that is that we were looking at the legislative calendar, and so we wanted to get somebody on board as soon because of that. That's the reason why we wanted it
in
in
Sacramento. For Sacramento, I mean,
I'm not sure. I think
we
were talking about getting him onboarded soon.
I mean, that's the chairwoman of the committee. So, I mean,
if here in February 8th.
So we could do January 31st or January 29th. That Monday.
I think President Young has a conflict on that date.
I got a conflict on the 31st.
Yeah, I'm not available on Mondays.
Mondays is not, and then Calvin's not available.
Oh, you got.
So the first meeting in February is our regular board meeting. We have availability on the 7th. Can we bring up the February calendar?
Just a thought on, because we have the board meeting was changed from the 15th to the 8th. Maybe we could do those interviews on that same day, on the 8th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a thought.
It's likely to be a short meeting otherwise,
Right.
because we met,
There you
there's
go.
only a week
Yeah,
in
the
between.
meeting the week before, sure.
Yeah,
So we can make that a special meeting?
there you go.
Oh, perfect.
2 for
Okay, so
1.
we're going to cancel the regular board meeting and make the 8th the special board meeting. Awesome.
President Young, is that also good with you?
Thursday the 8th,
So it's only for the interviews.
only for the interviews.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
Well,
Well,
could
okay.
we, I thought we'd do the regular board meeting as well.
Plus the interviews.
Yes.
Oh, you
and
want
add
both?
interviews?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the beginning of the meeting will be a quick meeting, and then we'll go right into the special meeting for interviews.
And President Young?
Yeah, that's fine.
Come on.
Okay, perfect. Great.
There you go.
Okay, we'll follow up with that then.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And thank you. With that
Those
said,
jiggling, eggs is
yep,
cooling.
with that said, I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 7:37.
All right, good job.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good boy.
Thank you, everyone.
Yvonne? Yes. No, right? No, I'm literally still at the district for the water district. I just finished the meeting and I literally just adjourned us.
matter whether we do it a week before or a week after?
Anything.